Hey guys, what's going on? Sorry so late again. This time it's been really crazy trying to keep up with videos. I'm having some computer issues, so we'll see if this video actually makes it to the internet. If you see it, you'll know it happened. I just want to go through and do my DVD Blu-ray update like I always do. But this time I'm going to try to also plug a video that's coming up that'll have to do with this. So hopefully right after this you'll see a video. Editing has been an issue with this more than anything. So it's not bad shooting videos, it's just the videos have to be kind of, straight across, not a whole lot of things added to it. So let's just jump right in, and I'll do my Blu-rays first because I know you guys really like those. And these are in no particular order. These are all things that I've received over roughly the last 6 weeks, maybe, something like that. It's been a while, so I've got a pretty good stack here. This is the Green Lantern Blu-ray DVD set or whatever, but it has the 3D. I actually like this okay. I was actually, more than anything, I was just kind of glad to see a Green Lantern movie. I've been a Green Lantern fan for a while, and I've been trying to catch up with a lot of the comics, so that would be probably, to me, the most important part about liking this is you just kind of have to be in the mood for Green Lantern. A lot of people that are hardcore Green Lantern fans probably won't like it for certain reasons, and a lot of people just don't like Green Lantern or Ryan Reynolds or whatever, but I thought it was pretty good, actually, so not too bad. I think it's got a pretty good setup for another movie coming. The next two I'll show together. They released on the same time, and this is the Pee Wee Herman show on Broadway, and then the Pee Wee's Big Adventure. This, of course, was an upgrade. I went ahead and watched this. This looked pretty good. I could really make out a lot of detail that I couldn't make out on the DVD, and there was a lot of grain left still on there. I enjoyed it. It was a cheap Blu-ray. This here is the Broadway, which is similar to like the HBO special, the one that was at the Roxy Theater, which was like way back from the early 80s, back before he really had a kids show. This kind of reminds me more of that. It plays homage to that, and it plays homage to the kids television show, Pee Wee's Playhouse. So the Pee Wee Herman show on Broadway is fun. If you're a Pee Wee Herman fan, you'll really enjoy this. The crowd is mostly full of people around my age, people that grew up on the show. So it was really kind of fun to see this. I enjoyed it. It was really nostalgic for me. Next one, this Transformers Dark of the Moon. This is another one of those Blu-rays where my girlfriend ended up putting in the DVD instead of the Blu-ray. Not that it really matters. This movie looked okay. I mean, as much as I like these movies, alright, I really enjoyed the first one the most, and this was probably my least favorite. There was aspects of it that was interesting. I don't know, not anything I was overwhelmed by. Then on top of that, this is a true bare bones release. Disc 1 is the Blu-ray feature film, and Disc 2 is the DVD with digital copy, and that's like literally it. So that's going to release again, I think, sometime next month in 3D, and I'm thinking maybe that'll be the one that has the special features. I'm not really for sure. The next one I'll show is Red State. This is a Kevin Smith movie that was billed as a horror movie, but it's got aspects of horror, kind of like how Hostel or some other movie that has violence or something like that would be considered horror. But for the most part, it's just kind of a drier sense of humor and more drama. It's just not your typical Kevin Smith. You can see in the dialogue that had that same sense of timing, but at the same time, this is nothing like anything he'd ever done before. I actually really enjoyed this, but I should say that if you get into this movie, you might find that the first half of this movie is much better than the second half. I think once the movie starts to unravel and you see where the story is going, it kind of seems more predictable. The early parts of that movie, the suspense builds really well. As a thriller, the first half of this movie is one of the best I've seen in a while. It really kept me on the edge of my seat. Another superhero movie. This is Captain America: The First Avenger, and this is the version with 3D. I actually didn't expect to like this as much as I did. I really enjoyed this. I thought that the setting during World War II was done really well. I think it was really interesting to see the technology from the 1940s playing seamlessly into modern technology that we think of today, but in a very, I would say, early sci-fi movie kind of way. I don't know. It was really fun. And then other parts of it were just a regular, superhero movie. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I think it was really fun to watch. And this, probably more than Thor, is getting me excited about the new Avengers movie. The next one to show is Scream 4. I thought this was pretty good. I don't know, I mean, it fits well into the series. I don't know how necessary it was. I kind of felt like at the point I'd watched this movie, the formula for Scream was so old that they themselves couldn't even come up with a new formula enough to set it apart from everything else. This probably is one of those movies where I may appreciate it later after I watch it more. I'm not going to say that it's bad. If you're a fan of Scream movies, you'll probably want it, but it was just an alright kind of movie. Like on a scale of 10, I'd give it like a 7 or a 6.5 or something like that. Batman Year One, I keep praising DC animated movies over and over again. I really enjoyed this one. I'll have to say though, it's not my absolute favorite that's been out in a while. I've really enjoyed the Superman Batman, and I've really enjoyed all the Justice League stuff, probably a little bit more than this. As far as Batman goes, I think Under the Red Hood was still a little bit better than this, but I'd read the book that this was based on, so I kind of had an idea what was going to happen, and maybe that was part of it. Which, you know, most of these are based on, you know, a storyline that was put out at some point or another, and a lot of those I either didn't really remember or I hadn't read, so maybe that helped a little bit. These are still amazing. I really enjoyed seeing this version of Batman, especially, you know, when you get to see some characters that you kind of know what's going to happen to them in the future. There's a setup of characters. This is kind of like the same way, which a lot of what's going to happen to Batman is kind of discussed briefly. In here, I'm going to run through 3 different Disney movies that I haven't got a chance to watch yet, so I'm just going to comment on them briefly. But they're all ones that I end up getting random coupons for these, and in order to use them, you kind of get these coupons way in advance, and you have to pre-order. Well, I think it's Amazon's way of competing against the online coupons you can print out from the Disney website. Because, of course, Amazon doesn't take paper coupons, something that you can mail in with your payment. So they do their own digital coupons. And they would send me random emails, you know, saying that, you know, I would enjoy these movies. Here's $5 off or $10 off or whatever the case may be. And I got them on all of these. So I ended up pre-ordering all these. But I just hadn't got a chance to. I just hadn't been in a Disney mood. But I didn't want to pass up on a really good deal on movies that are normally pretty expensive. These are all movies that are Disney and they're 3D. The 3D version's on here. I may end up watching the 2D version first, but they're there just in case I ever wanted to watch them later. Some of these are done as a 3D limited edition, you know, which all Disney stuff's limited edition anyway. But here's Cars 2. I enjoyed the first Cars, so I thought that might be pretty good. And it's kind of good something if I have kids come over or something, you know, from the family. Lion King, I really enjoy Lion King. It's probably my favorite, you know, animated, you know, like hand-drawn animated, traditional animated Disney movie. So I don't know if the 3D is going to be spectacular on that, just because I think I'm more used to the 2D version. But I enjoy that, and I'm glad to see it out on Blu-ray. And the last one is the most recent Pirates movie. I hope to actually watch this probably tomorrow. I just haven't got a chance to see it yet, but this is another one I got a coupon for, but this has the 3D version as well. So I can't comment too much on those other than that's what I got, and I don't want to get too far behind. I need to organize some things. Here's some other ones that I got recently that I got just really good prices on. These are all movies I've seen, but I just haven't watched this version of them. This is Mimic, the director's cut. Guillermo del Toro is kind of a director that's really pretty famous right now, but when he did this movie, a lot of people didn't really probably know his name that well. Here in the U.S., he has actually became less of, you know, considered a international director, kind of like how he was early on, and more of just a famous director of good movies. This is one of those movies that I actually watched it when it very first came out on VHS rental. Didn't think much about it. Then I watched it later when it came out on DVD and kind of got a second appreciation for it. And then now that they put this out, this director's cut that's approved by Del Toro, I would actually say that this might be a movie that I'll start to really appreciate a lot. Here's 2 of them that came out on the same day, both, you know, great movies. Quentin Tarantino classics, Pulp Fiction and Jackie Brown. Both of these I just noticed had the sticker. I knew that the Pulp Fiction did, but these are director approved by Quentin Tarantino. Yeah, these are both good movies. Of course, I think Pulp Fiction is a much stronger movie than Jackie Brown. It's definitely a different kind of pacing. Jackie Brown's more slowly paced. I love Pulp Fiction. It's one of those movies I saw at the movie theater when I was much younger and loved it. And it's one of those movies that I could probably watch it comfortably like once a month, once every couple of months. This is the Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. This is the 3D, the Best Buy exclusive. Best Buy put this out and this is Deathly Hallows Part 1. I already had this, but I wanted to pick up the 3D version just because it's a limited edition. So this might be quite collectible one of these days. Both of these, though, together were pretty cheap. They're around $20, and I think normally they're like $30, but they're only like $20 this week up until like Tuesday. So yeah, I picked up both of these. And I've watched that Part 2 and Part 1 now, and I liked Part 2 probably a little bit better than Part 1. Part 1 has a lot of exposition and the build-up and the story, and then Part 2 is a lot of action. I really want to watch both those together. I think that would work a little better. I think the balance would be good between them if you watched them as a whole movie. This will be the last thing that I got on Blu-ray. This is like the only big box set I got right now, and in Jurassic Park, this was an upgrade I had. And this is one of those movies where the slipcase is just hanging on by a thread, I guess. It just literally won't stay in there. I watched the first movie, of course. I didn't watch the other two yet. This was a series that I think the first one is the strongest, of course. The second one's okay, and the third one's okay. They've probably got fans that would like all of them, but I think as a whole, probably most people respond to the first one, and it's just a classic. This series I thought was a little bit expensive, but as a whole, I really enjoyed watching it. It looked great on Blu-ray. It was really crisp. There's a lot of grain left on that one as well. Now I'm going to do my DVDs. I'm still trying to just make my way through these as fast as I can. I'll show these two together. This is Young Justice. This is probably my favorite animated series that's out right now. The Young Justice series is actually amazingly well done and not exactly designed towards children as much as I would expect it. If you like DC animated stuff like the Batman animated series from the 90s and the Superman animated series from the 90s, this plays well into that, but in a way it's actually more adult than that, which is odd because I felt like the Superman and Batman animated series was done well for an adult show. This actually feels more like an adult show than those. It's definitely a lot less cartoonish, less stylized, but I really enjoyed these. If you're fans of like Teen Titans, Young Justice, those comics, this is a similar storyline. It builds the same way. There's a lot of peripheral characters that are similar to like Justice League Unlimited. Random characters, like ones you'll never hardly ever see, show up for maybe an episode or two, and you're kind of, you know, caught off guard by what they'll reference that most comic book fans would pick up, especially the hardcore ones, and even casual readers like myself may not get, or like children would just right over their heads. But yes, Young Justice is really well done. These are due about every so many months, and they're doing volumes of one disc. That's a ripoff. I don't enjoy that, but I kind of have a feeling they may or may not put out a full box set of that, so I'm kind of, you know, just deciding to buy them because I want to see it and I want to support the show, hoping that they'll put out a future full box set. The next one's one I got right around Halloween. This is the Roseanne Tricks and Treats, which is a collection of all the Halloween episodes, plus the last one's sort of a Halloween episode, but it's not really. And this is the new version that was put out by Mill Creek. There was a version that was put out, I can't even remember who did that. But yeah, there was another version that was put out, and it's very similar. The only difference is this one is dirt cheap, like $5 or less. And I went ahead and just picked it up just for fun, and it was really cool to sit down and watch that around Halloween. Speaking of Halloween, this is a horror movie that I picked up not too long ago. It actually arrived right after Halloween. I wish I would have had it in time. It's called Grave Encounters. I remember vaguely seeing this trailer. I mostly remember seeing it online. And I remember thinking it just looked like every other, you know, kind of generic horror movie that I'd seen around that time. But actually, This is really pretty well done. It's put out by Tribeca Film, and it was advertised on several DVDs that I'd seen recently, but I can't remember which ones. They were more than likely rentals. But this movie, Grave Encounters, follows a ghost story, but seen from POV of a crew that's shooting, you know, like what a reality TV show, like a ghost hunter kind of thing. And it actually reminds you a lot of those shows. They did a really good job of making it seem like what it would be like behind the scenes of those shows. And the guys, you know, kind of put on an act, but at the same time they're trying really hard to build up the suspense when there isn't really any, just to make the show dramatic. And then when things start to unravel, it kind of turns on them. There's some moments in this towards the end that I thought were a little unnecessary. I'm going to say, I don't want to run it for anybody because this isn't truly a spoiler, but I would have enjoyed this better with less CG. And that's not to say there's a lot of CG. There isn't. But there's enough in there that you start to realize that there's certain parts they could have done without CG, or they could have done something instead of that would have been just as shocking or scary. I don't know, but as a whole, I'm really impressed with this movie. I'm going to say that it was a good purchase for me. I'm not the kind of person that normally buys things like that. I really enjoyed it. I think it was around $12. They don't have it out on Blu-ray that I know of yet. And I think it was really good. I liked it. If you like Blair Witch style, you know, found footage kind of things, it's like that. So you have to like that. But if you're not into those styles, I don't know. But for everybody that likes that style, that's probably one of the best ones that's been out in a long time. Here's a couple of movies that I haven't seen yet. I'm just going to briefly show those. I picked this up, The Roost, really dirt cheap, like $2 or $3 used. I just picked this up because this was one of Ty West's first movies. And if you know that director, you realize that he kind of gets, I don't know, he has some hardcore fans and he has some detractors just because a lot of his movies kind of seem dated, but it's not like they're really dated as much as they're homage to an older style film that he probably really enjoys. It seems like a lot of his stuff is a throwback to more like the 70s and 80s. I don't know. I really liked House of the Devil, and I thought Cabin Fever 2 was okay. I don't know. I would have to watch Cabin Fever 2 again because I really didn't know what to expect, and it kind of surprised me. It was a little different than what I expected, but it intrigued me enough that I wanted to see this, which this is one of his oldest films that was probably put out, you know, on a major studio release. But that's The Roost, and can't tell you much about that because I haven't seen it yet, but apparently it's something to the effect of bats that spread a virus, sort of like zombieism, so that gives you an idea. The next one is The Father of Invention. I actually picked this up because a fellow YouTuber had mentioned that his song is actually in here, and that's Gordon Every Deuce, or Gordon Every Day was his oldest channel. He had a video where he talked about getting to meet some of these people, and he got a song in there and a few other things. Really cool. But I've been wanting to see this. I got this from the Amazon Vine program, so when they offered me a chance to get a free movie, you know, I mean, I saw this and I thought, well, that's a great opportunity to see this film. So I haven't got a chance to check that out yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to this just to see, you know, that and to support Gordon Every Deuce. Yeah, if you'd like to check out Gordon Every Deuce, I'll go ahead and put his link here. He's a great guy. Does a lot of funny videos, but yeah, check it out. Gordon Every Deuce. Okay, the next one I'm going to show is the last one, and it's like last but not least kind of thing. And this is Out and About the movie, Las Vegas. And this is the movie that Brendan, Wet Movie 1, had sent over and has Gabe in it, Hero Super 99. I thought this was really hilarious. It was a blast. Probably a little over the top and maybe a little risque for some viewers. But for you guys that watch his stuff and you enjoy it, you're going to know kind of what to expect. You could pretty much imagine what these guys could get into. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And if you buy this version directly from him, you'll just have to check with his channel, PM him, and you can get this version that has kind of like a bonus Out and About. But yeah, this Out and About the movie, Las Vegas, with Brendan Mitchell from Wet Movie 1, a lot of fun, blast, definitely have to check that out. So yeah, that was it. So that's probably it for now, but you guys definitely check. I had a couple more things I wanted to show, and I wanted to save those for that video. So when you guys get to see my next video, I'm hoping to show some Barnes & Noble stuff from the Criterion Collection. Not a whole lot, but you'll get a chance to check it out. So yeah, if you guys will just hang in there, hopefully that'll post here pretty soon. All right, everybody, take care, and I will see you later. Bye.